try to straighten out the thingy bopper. People come in. What you called already texted me. Where are you? Hondo. Shit.
Yeah, he texted me too.
I couldn't text him back because I was doing all this. Anybody on yet?
I know. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see us now?
Hi, Bomber Boy. Hi, Esther. So I didn't look up really much anything about the avian flu.
I got that covered. I was going to let you. I got that covered. I was going to let you do more of the fire.
Okay, that's good.
Since you have an experience with that, and I don't.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Devious. That was nice. Somebody gave you a chat. So Amanda's letting them know on the other one. The other chat was still open for whatever reason. So she's going to tell them to go to your page to find the new one.
Oh, okay. I don't see Jerry on yet.
I think Amanda's going to tell her. So.
Yeah, avian flu is bad right now.
Yeah.
Time to stand. It has wrecked the country.
It's actually is mostly with just chicken, with poultry.
But it has crossed over to cows, and I know California's having trouble with their cattle.
Cows, cats, and dogs. And the from what I'm finding, the biggest issue with it with cats and dogs is that when if they eat a dead bird that's infected by it, or the people that feed raw diets from like the cow raw milk that possibly have it. So that's where what I'm reading is where that's coming from. Now when a poultry gets it, it's very rare that they survive. And honestly, if they did survive, I don't think I would ever want to eat their eggs or anything. So I would think in order not to spread it, you probably wouldn't.
You'd want to cull them.
Probably, yeah. I was trying to think of that word.
Yeah, it's a nice way of saying put them to sleep.
Put them down, yeah. And I wouldn't feel safe to eat it, and you also wouldn't want anything else to eat it, so you would want to bury it.
Yeah, I see.
So
I see.
that would be my thing. Now, a human did get it and died from it, but they did have a very compromised immune system, and I still can't figure out how they contracted it. There are a lot of people that do consume raw milk and raw butter. They make their butter like, they don't drink pasteurized milk. Yeah. So, but after really reading about this, I'm not nearly as worried about my birds getting it as I was before.
Good.
I feel a lot better about it. So I think a big thing for me was like, my birds go out in the aviary a lot, weather permitting, and keeping their bowls in like, only taking them out when they go out. And when they're done, dumping those contents outside and bringing them in and sterilizing them. I'm not real concerned about, they don't really get on the ground. Earl does initially to get out, but I could find a way. If that made me feel uncomfortable, I could just put a tarp on the ground. It doesn't really seem to be airborne. It's more from eating. Yeah, it seems to be from eating the raw type of food, milk, etc. Or if a cat or a dog eats a bird that has been infected with it.
Have other people caught it over the years?
This is a new one. This is called where is it? I had a H5N1.
Oh, different strain.
So we
Okay.
went to just some different because I remember
Um,
H1N1. So it's went up a few strains. Um, but besides wild birds and poultry, chickens, the other most likely candidates to get it is dogs, cats, and cows, and mostly because of what I was just saying, those items. Um, so, and
so it's not a
I'm in South Carolina on the Georgia line, and I can't speak for Georgia because I didn't look that up, but so far there are no reported cases around here. That doesn't mean it's not here, but I have yet to find any reported cases. So after reading all of this, it makes me feel a lot better. Um, I did want to kind of touch on if you would think that your parrot or any of your animals are sick and have possibly ingested, like eaten raw food or have eaten a dead bird or a chicken, um, and your animal starts to act sick, call your vet first before just taking it in, because you would not want to take it in. They'd probably want you to come to like a back area or a sick room or treat them outside or something like that. That's one of the things they really suggested. And honestly, the for pets, it's kind of like the flu. It's those type of symptoms: low
um,
appetite, low energy, or sudden death, fever, lethargy, low inflamed eyes, all the things that you normally get from like a head cold or the flu. So
okay.
those are the things to look for. Um, and I mean, I suggest if you feed your cats and or dogs raw diets, I suggest you talk to your veterinarian about that, or do some research on which company you're using and what steps they're taking to be careful, since this is mostly how it's happening. Um, and talk to your vet. Talk to your vet. Your vet may want you to try and change from feeding raw for a little while
A
until we
lot
get this.
of lot of people in the ferret community feel feed raw, so I'll have to reach out
But they
and
don't usually do meat though. They do raw vegetables, and I think vegetables are
no,
okay.
they ferret can't eat a vegetable.
Oh,
They're
ferrets. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said
no, I said
parrots.
parrot.
I,
No,
okay, yeah.
ferret. Ferret people. A lot of them are feeding raw now. It's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, raw meats, raw chickens.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I'll have to I know a lot of my friends feed raw because when I lived, on my little like homestead, anytime we processed any kind of animal, I had a friend that I gave the innards to, like the heart, the liver. They can't eat the intestine, but the kid, like there's several parts of you know a chicken, a rat, anything that they like to have for their raw diet. And she would come, I would save it for her and freeze it, and she would just come and pick it up. um
mm,
and when you make a decision to raise your own meat and do things like that, it for me it was really important to use all of that was possible. To me, I never wanted to waste anything. um, and that was really really important to me, because to me, if that animal was becoming your food, at least you have the decency to use all of it that you can. So
yeah.
that made me feel better about it. But but
Well, I
that's
feel a
really,
little better.
I feel a lot better after reading this, because I there is some stuff I've seen on Instagram. Some of the parrot community is freaking out, and I understand that. I'll also send you the link. And if I can, I'll get on here and I'll put the link if anybody wants to go read the article I read. Um, I don't normally do links, but because I'm telling y'all, hey, I'm putting this link in this, I think it's okay. Actually, I'll
Mhm.
send it to Amanda, and Amanda can put it in there if that's okay with you. Is that good
Yeah,
with you? Okay. And then that's easier for me to send it to her and her share it. But this is
okay.
where I got the information. I did look some other things up, but I felt like this was from the AVMA, so I felt like it was a good article to go by. Yeah.
Now, I remember a few years back in Michigan, if I remember right, 3
Well, it's
African
actually
grays.
not the flu, it's FLU, the flu. So I'm sure your vet didn't call it the flu.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, this is nothing like some of the other stuff. Cheers. Um,
Yeah, I remember a few years back, I think it was in Michigan, 3 African grays got
mm,
the avian flu, if I remember right.
yeah, I mean,
Really rare freak thing.
I know some animals did, get sick from, um, but I would say more than likely if that happened too, it may be, um, if they're living outside. I know a lot of, I know a lady actually that keeps all of her, animals. She has outdoor aviaries. She lives more on the coast. Um, and so they're always, pretty much warm, and then they have ways to keep them warm if not. So I could see if a bird maybe got in there and it died,
Yeah.
um, I could see an animal getting at it that way. But yeah, like I said, after reading this article, I feel so much better. Um, yeah.
I feel bad for, hobby farmers because I was reading one article, there was a hobby farm. They had one incident, and that's all it took. And the health department, everybody came in, and all her pets, that were poultry, the turkeys,
Hmm.
the geese, the ducks, the chickens, they took them all and put them down. I
Hmm.
felt terrible for her. They all had
Yeah.
names. She wasn't just like a farmer. They were pets. They had names and things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's a legit thing. So
well, I feel better.
I
'Cause
feel a lot better.
when I heard it cross species, I was really Scott and I were
Yeah.
upset.
Mm. I still don't completely understand how it's getting to the cows. I didn't really have
Yeah,
time to go over that yet, so maybe we'll next time we'll kind of touch on that. I'll write it down to look it up. Um, because I didn't because
I
I
read
mean
something
cow.
about the contamination, like you said, through touch, to where um, farmers are going back and forth from the chickens to the cows
Well, I could see that, but
on their jackets and things.
it just doesn't seem to me like um it's spreading like through poo. Um,
Yeah.
I always call it poo poo to caca, but it
Mm.
doesn't seem to me like it's spreading through like poo or the air. It seems, I mean, again, I'm no expert for by any means. That's why I always say talk to your veterinarian. But thankfully now Bo and Max will chase a squirrel, they'll chase a cat and everything, but they don't eat anything like that. Like if they found a dead bird, they would not eat it.
Yeah.
Uh, they're well fed. So yeah, they're okay. And I understand, we all have, I don't want to go too deep into this, but we all have um news insecurity. I understand that, but at the same time there are plenty of places that you can go to, avian vets, like the AVMA that I just went to, and if you don't trust the CDC, you can talk to your doctor. So there's a lot of things um
Okay.
that you can do. Yeah.
I haven't read any comments at all.
Lots of ways. It doesn't bother me, Chip. You didn't raise it or anything. It's just from a can. And thanks to you, I feed Percy tuna now, and Percy loves it. I feed him a little tuna with some pasta. He loves pasta. Um, so oh, Pamela's just, so are you okay, Pam? Oh, thank you,
Hi,
Leonie.
Leonie.
We're happy to be back. And hello, everybody. I have dandelion tea and ginger
Oh, I
and
have
water.
blueberry wine.
Oh, that sounds good.
It is. It's real sweet. It's like a juice.
Yeah, yeah. It's like grape juice, I bet.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Which I like.
but
I just like sweet. I don't like a lot of bite. I'm not a real like that kind of wine person.
Yes, I
I
am. I
like all
didn't
the
used to
junky
be.
sweet stuff.
Yeah, I like that too, but I actually am like, um, I like, I can't say it right, like the Sauvignon Blanc. Like I like the driest of the dry.
Oh, you're kidding.
The ones that you like take a drink and you immediately feel dehydrated, those are my favorite.
Yeah, I don't do those.
Um, yeah, so, but that's
Hi,
okay, you know.
Joanne.
Yeah, hi everybody. If we've missed
Amanda has
anybody,
coffee.
sorry. Amanda has coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, everybody.
Do you guys have anything to drink with you? I told you to bring your own beverage in my announcements. Could be water or anything. You need to join us.
And before we move on to what Rebecca's going to tackle, does anybody have any questions about the avian flu, not the avian flu?
Good, Nicole.
You got water. I have water too, Nicole. It's not
Hi,
boring at
Pamela.
all. It's good
Chocolate
for you.
milkshake. Yes, my kind of girl.
It's too cold for me to have that right now. It's so I'm like freezing
I see
here.
you bundled up.
Yeah, I'm not used to like the cold weather. It's really getting to me. Oh, hot
What?
chocolate. That sounds really good.
How cold is it there right now?
Oh, probably like 45 or something like that. I'll have to
Yeah.
look. Yeah. We do have bad weather coming next week. Like,
I've
um,
heard.
everybody I think is, but we have a chance on it's 40. See, I'm just freezing to pieces. The low's 32 though. Um, so Tuesday night into Wednesday. So Tuesday at some point we have a chance of 1 to 3 inches of snow mixed with ice. And going into Wednesday we have a chance of 3 to 5 inches. So I'm like
Happy.
I moved away from that stuff. I told my northern friends to come pick their drunk weather up out of my yard.
So happy. I hope it comes here. I know Ryan, y'all just came on five hours ago saying it's looking,
Yeah.
actual. It's going to be an actual storm. Whereas
Yeah.
before they just thought it was like a dribble front. Weren't even
Hmm.
sure if it was going to be snow.
Hmm.
But he
Minus
said everything's
25.
changed what they're looking at.
I know my one daughter, I think, and my friend in Ohio, I think they're supposed to get a pretty good, a significant amount of snow. Um, oh goodness. See, that's what we're supposed to get some ice too, and that's what scares me. Um, yeah, but Pam,
Yeah.
to me now, see, I used to live in that kind of weather, but to me now, that's what 40 degrees feels like because I'm just like acclimated to this weather. So, yeah.
Well, you saw my Philly video, Becky Jean. That wasn't just part of the getup of that. That wasn't just part of the skit. The
Hmm.
clothes. That's how I get so cold. That's what I dressed in just for that
Yeah.
day. And
Yeah.
I think it was like 35, 32, something somewhere around that. So, and I mean, I was just from all you could see with my eyes. And
Yeah.
I had long johns on, I had hunting clothes on,
Mm.
and I was still like my little eyes and everything, my eyeballs were cold.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not the person I used to be. That's for sure. And I always enjoyed it. You know, we had a four wheeler when we lived in Ohio. I gave all that up and I liked it. Um, but and we're not equipped for it down here. So I don't like it anymore.
You ever made snow cream?
I haven't made snow cream. I have just we just ate clean ice cream. Or sometimes we would pour like some Kool-Aid on top to make it more like a snow cone, or buy the stuff for a snow cone. The recipes I read for snow ice cream don't look appealing to me. I would use more of like the canned milk, not the sweet and condensed, but like a canned milk or something. Um,
Yeah, I was seeing cream, I don't know what kind of cream, vanilla, um, what else did they have in it?
well, vanilla has vodka
Sugar?
in it, so that's good.
Sugar, I
Hmm.
think, but I'm not sure.
A lot of the ones I've seen are they're they have like regular milk in it, I thought. I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, I guess I would give it more of a real consistency of an ice cream, you know.
yeah.
But I think if I was going to do that, I would probably do like Cool Whip. I make Ken an
Mm.
ice cream. I freeze a few bananas and then I cut them up and I put some vanilla and a little bit of like a nut milk or something because he tries to do low carb. And I mix that up in a blender really well. And then I put it in a bowl and then I fold in a tub of whipped topping, like Cool Whip. And then you fold that in together and mix it, and then you put it in the freezer for it. And it's a really good natural type of ice cream where you don't have to add sugars and
I asked
all that
because
stuff.
Condo said don't lick the yellow snow, so
Yeah.
that's what brought it up.
Yeah, Condo. What causes the yellow snow? Is it squirrels or something?
Well, we had an adventure yesterday. We were sitting there in our living room, and the lights went out. And went down the breaker box. Nothing had tripped, and we're like, "Oh boy, this must be serious." We call electricians out, and they found this
Oh my gracious.
all
Oh.
melted and burnt up. This is an outlet,
Hmm. Do you know
and the
what
wire burnt halfway up the wall.
do you know
So
what
we
caused
almost had an electrical fire.
do you happen to know what caused it?
Yes, this is an old 70s house. The guy said they used to have this bad practice, some people, where they would
I lost my
crimp
headphone.
wires together with a little metal piece. And he said if it moves or slips, that's what happens. It, gets hot and it burns. So he says he sees it a lot in these old houses. And I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
great. So
So
that's what happened there.
when Ken redoes anything in the house, he changes our outlets out so that they're
Really?
more updated. Yeah, and we had to get a new electrical box last year. Kind of the same thing. We had changed our water heater to one of the tankless ones,
Yeah.
and it was just bogging our electric down to the point it was pretty bad. And he got to looking up our electrical box, and it turned out this company couldn't even sell the panels anymore because they were known to cause house fires. So we immediately had to get somebody, and Ken could do it, but when it comes to electrical work, if we ever wanted to resell, you want to make sure it's somebody that's licensed and certified so it's insured. So we had to have somebody come out that was licensed and get it taken care of. Yeah.
So it's funny because the fires had me thinking in California, and then this
Mm,
happened. And I
mm,
thought, ugh, is that an omen to get a kit together that you could dash out of the house,
mhm.
in an emergency? So I looked it up. We already, just by chance, in case we get in a car accident, Ani has a kit in the back and a backpack. And in it, we have water, food, we have a receiving blanket, paper towels, um, his harnesses, and I think that's it. Newspaper, and we carry that everywhere in the car in case we're in a car accident. But I read in the kit for pets that you want water, you want their medications, you want their supplies, such as their food, leash, bowls. Um, you need a carrier. This is another reason why it's good to microchip your pet. I'm afraid to do Ani though, because I had a bird before this that picked, and I'm afraid if I put something in there.
Yeah,
But he's gotten an
yeah.
implant before that medicine. He's been fine with it, but I don't know if
It
it's
scares me in birds too because they're so little and they're just so delicate in their own way, you know.
yeah,
They're fierce with that beak and all, but yet, like, to me, they're so delicate in that way, and it does scare me as well. Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
agree. And for yourself, you might want to also bring sanitation stuff for the bird and you too, like paper towels, baby wipes, like litter if it's a cat or a ferret. For yourself, you might want to carry some contact info of your family. You might want a flashlight, batteries, uh, copies of personal documents. That's a good idea where you make copies of personal
Mhm.
documents and you put them away in the kit, you
Yeah.
know, because even if it's in a fireproof safe, you may not be able to get to it. Look at the people in California.
Mhm.
So, non-perishable, something to eat, non-perishable, and y'all might be able to think of other things to put in the kit
I just
that
saw
you
Winter put to pack extra pairs of warm socks, and that's good advice, especially if it's for cooler weather. Um,
strawberry and day and coconut cream pie. Okay. Okay.
and they may be talking about drinks on that because
Oh,
there's some
okay.
other different conversations going on.
Oh, okay.
Buster needs
How would you
extra dog food.
transport the axolotls? Well, I'm lucky that they're much better, easier than fish. I can literally get a bucket or like a Tupperware thing and put fresh water in it with prime. Prime takes the chlorine and everything out of it and neutralizes ammonia when they pee. And you can
Mhm.
plop them in that water, close them up in the Tupperware thing, and off you go. You do have to change that water at least every 24 hours. If it's smaller, every 12 hours, because their urine will build up the ammonia and burn them. So that's how you would get the axolotls out. Sunny, our cage comes right up off the stand. So Scott said he would just carry the whole cage out. I'm like, okay. Um,
Yeah.
Onni has his own carrier in the car. The reptiles, each one, I have a pillowcase. So I can put a lizard or snake in a pillowcase, tie it in a knot. So, and that's about all that I can get out. The crickets and the other fish would just have to tough it out. So,
Yeah. Um, a couple things. Winter said even in warm weather, if your socks get wet, and that's true because I can't stand to have wet feet. Service dog suggested getting a thumb drive and take pictures of your personal documents, including all your pet documents. That's a good idea, especially if you could put a passcode on it. That way, if somebody somehow took that out of your car, if you're going to keep that in your car, you know what I mean? If someone
yeah,
took that, you don't want them getting your um, personal type of thing. So that's a really good idea. Um,
it's good to
to
walk through your house with the video camera very slowly and show each of the things you have for the
yes,
insurance company.
service
Um,
dogs like that as well.
Unless you
Yeah.
wanna sit there and itemize every DVD you own or whatever, and that would take forever and ever, but that's just a quick way to prove that it proves that you have it, not just a list,
Mhm.
for the
Yeah.
insurance company.
Mhm. Always have extra water. Yeah, I carry water. I'm not a real big bottled water type of person. I prefer to use like a filtered thing and a reusable cup. But I do keep bottled water in my car for emergencies. Even to like if it's hot or extremely cold, you see someone that's homeless, it's nice to be able to give them a bottle, at least a bottle of water, you know. So that's always a great idea as well.
We did
Uh,
go through a fire when my first child was born. We weren't in the house, thankfully, but all of our pets were. We
yeah,
lost
that's
everybody except for, believe it or not, 3 little mice survived and fish in the fish tank and an iguana. We had a house full of animals, so that was barely, and for us, that was barely anything that survived. The mice,
mm,
though, from smoke inhalation died 3 days later,
oh,
and, the iguana was never the same. His personality, he turned out nasty, and he
oh,
almost bit the
geez.
tip of my baby's finger off, so I had to rehome him.
Oh, goodness.
So that he was traumatized. And the fish,
Mhm.
from what I understand, the tank was intact. And I think somebody, they said that they were going to take care of them for us. While I was in the hospital and everything, and we never heard from them again. So they kept the
Oh,
tank, they kept the fish, ran with it. So, but I don't
that's one
know.
of my fears about, like, boarding with someone that I don't know or allowing somebody to come here, especially where you know, Buster's kind of, I mean, he's not, people say, oh, he's famous. He's not famous, but he's popular,
Yeah.
and I have concerns about stuff like that.
Do
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. 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 I'm an anxious
So-
person though about a lot of things. Yeah, yeah, that's but we had somebody watch one of our birds while we went to a family reunion for a weekend, and a kid accidentally fed him something he shouldn't have had, and he died. So I know that has a lot of runs into that a lot. Yeah. So,
yeah.
but did you lose your entire home, or did you have to rebuild, or
It went
um?
to the ground. It was an apartment, almost like a condo, and it went to the ground. So the hospital put us up for about a week, and a nice apartment place just gave us an apartment right away.
Yeah.
So, and Red Cross
Uh,
helped some. Did they help you guys during the hurricane or no?
I'll go back to that. Let me ask Eric, when I refer to sisters, because I told Kondo this recently. When I refer to sisters on YouTube, that's Buster's sisters. Those are my daughters. Um, so my daughters and my son, yeah, they can watch them, but it would also be nice for us to be able to go on a vacation with all of our grown children as well. We haven't done that in years and years. So they're not my sisters, they're Buster's sisters. So for me personally, which again, our area was hit harder than it had never seen a hurricane before. We've had tropical storms, but never a hurricane, um, and or a tornado of this magnitude. But I will stress, we did not have the storm that Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee, because we're forgetting about Northern or Western North Carolina, but also Eastern Tennessee was hit really hard as well.
Yeah.
There's still people living in tents there. Um, so maybe the Red Cross, I can't speak for them, but I will tell you, I saw 2 days in a row there was a Red Cross van that sat at the park and gave out sandwiches.
Hmm.
So my I don't like to put organizations down, but was I impressed with? No. And I
Yeah.
did on the news, I saw there was people complaining in Augusta about the Red Cross as well. So
Mm.
uh, because of that, until I figure out what's really going on with that, I would just donate. If I'm going to donate money, I'm going to donate it to a person, and I'm not going to donate it to an
I
organization.
noticed the stars that are donating money to the fires in California. I noticed not one of them is given to the Red Cross. They've given to things like America, Feeding America,
Mm,
and
yeah, we talked
things
about
like
that a little
that.
bit.
I noticed
Yeah.
that.
And I don't know anything about those organizations, but I don't really. And again, maybe it's something I need to look up, but definitely for sure, they are not. They didn't help our area. I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
I did see a very small little SUV size Red Cross car go by my house one day, but I
It
don't feel
wasn't a
like
big presence. Yeah.
no, there was. That's the only present I saw. And I was out hunting for gas every single daggone day. So um I feel like I would have seen, and thank you. Several people have said it's nice to see us back. So thank you for that. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, Buster has lots of sisters and his girls and his dogs and all that, but um not really any aunties that he sees.
So I think there's 5 major fires now in California, and then I think they said a couple little ones started up today.
There's a lot. There's a
There's
lot.
several of them.
Yes. I think some
Oh,
of the other ones they're containing better. And then I believe I heard again this afternoon that they're having more wind. Somebody in the chat is from California, but I don't know in regards to where they're at,
yeah.
and where the fires are from. So if somebody's from there, let us know. Um,
The
it's
winds going up to 85 to 100 miles per hour last week is just unfathomable to me.
yeah, yeah.
Once you get to like 100, miles per hour. Then you're getting on the scale of an F0 tornado, you know? So that would
Mhm.
be like a blowtorch.
Oh, Winter, I'm not putting down any as far as like I understand that you have to pay people. It's not that. The issue for me was there was no presence of that here. And that was very concerning. You know, we didn't there are people in our area that didn't have power for a month. And I'm not no, I'm not trying to say that. Okay, I just mean, yeah, I know, like St. Jude for me personally is a good one. I've personally been affected by childhood cancer. My daughter was affected by childhood cancer, I should say. And I know it's like 75% of their money goes to research. They have to pay people. So I'm okay about that. So I'm
Yeah.
not upset with the Red Cross. Look, when my one of my siblings was born, my dad was in Korea, fighting in Korea. And the Red Cross went and trucked out and found him on the battlefield to tell him he had a child born. So I just,
Oh, she said she's
again,
talking about people in the chat.
oh, okay, yeah,
Okay.
okay,
All
but
right.
again, I do
I didn't mean to
understand.
offend anyone.
Yeah, I do understand that they have to.
There was somebody talking trash. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I was worried I offended somebody.
Yeah, I do understand that they have to. They have, you know, to pay people, um, and that wasn't it at all. For me, it was just there was no presence here. Um, I just think with this, we were very fortunate. We were very fortunate, but
They were there to help us when our apartment burned down. We got a bed and
mhm,
several other things. They were right there for everybody, but that's a building with only X amount of people, so they sent everybody there. So there was a large presence, but that was just a small event. It's not like it was with the Carolinas with the hurricane or like the fires, out
mhm,
in
yeah,
California. So I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, you know, yeah. Oh, Winter, I hope you'll stay.
Or come back at least. Please stay. Don't leave because of one person.
Um, but yeah, and I didn't mean to stir up any kind of poo poo to
Mm,
caca.
yeah, me either.
But definitely, again, it's not anything about their budget or anything. Um, we just really, you know, I was just saying there wasn't really much of a presence here. Um, and maybe because they were doing all their resources to North Carolina and Tennessee.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, there is a lot to learn about evacuating, especially from a fire. It's water and fire, I think, are the one of the two worst things
Yeah.
of if you have that kind of a tragedy. Like, there was no idea that it was coming, that this water and stuff was. I know there were people saying it might or it could or whatever, but there was just, um no way really. A lot of people, especially in that area of North Carolina and Tennessee, they probably didn't have anywhere to go. It's a very poor area for the most part. So that's it's tough. That's a tough thing
Oh, I
to
just thought of a tip for with the power outages. You can go to Walmart and they're only a few dollars each. They're called hand warmers and they're back in the sporting section where the hunting things are. And
Mhm,
you break them and they warm. And what you can do with those is they can go against a fish tank. They can really help reptiles. You wrap a sock around them, put them in a cage. And I'm imagining if you have a small cage for a little bird, you could probably put some of those heat packs in the tray underneath the grate so they can't reach it, but it emits heat and then wrap a blanket around the cage. So It's good to
Yeah.
have those on hand.
Yeah.
How did you
Um,
keep Buster warm? Oh, or wait, it was hot,
well,
wasn't it, when it did it?
it was hot, but we
Okay.
thankfully the night before, it's really weird. Like they weren't predicting that we were going to get um what we ended up getting. And but it was funny for me, I kept telling my husband, I'm not native from here, but my one of my neighbor is. And literally the whole entire time I've lived here, I don't think we've ever talked about the weather other than like we had a little bit of snow a couple or like 4 years ago, and but we've never really discussed weather. And she kept bringing up, this storm that was coming, but they were acting like, yeah, we were going to get some wind, but Atlanta was supposed to get what we got. And I kept telling my husband, like, I feel like it's like she naturally knows something different is going on here because I said, she's never mentioned the weather like this to me in this way and in this much. And I said, please just get us you know, I can't even think, a generator. So he did, because he even said, I'm leaving it in the box. If nothing happens, I'm taking it.
Huh. Yeah.
Got a generator.
Nice.
So we did take turns running a fan. And but actually, he got to go outside some, breaks from the generator. He'd go out to the aviary. Um, we could hose him off. You could go out and get hosed off, him and Earl both. It's the hardest for Earl because Earl, he wants his time alone and his space and um, his darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was really hard for him. Percy, he was completely fine. He just sang tequila. He didn't know anything else.
That's like
You
Sonny or
lost me?
Cockatoo. Everything's an adventure to him.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
Um,
can.
so, but yeah, uh, had it not been for that, I don't know. Buster didn't like a lot of the dark, because we
Yeah,
were
Sonny's
being
scared of the dark
careful.
or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he would get a little freaked out over that from time to time. So I had these like flashlights. I had bought a bag of flashlight little ones for emergencies. So I would put batteries in them and put them all together like in a bundle, like with a rubber band,
Yeah.
and it would almost be like a light. And then my daughter did a really smart thing. She took a couple of their flashlights and hung them from the ceiling fan so it pointed down like a real light. That
Yeah.
was a that was a really like brilliant idea.
Yeah. I'll remember
Yeah.
that one.
And I have now a lot of the stuff we get each other now for gifts for birthdays and stuff is like solar things, like outdoor solar lights that you can use,
Yeah.
you know, um, batteries. Like we look at weather a lot differently now since this happened. So we try to be a little more prepared. Um, yeah.
Well, you're prepared for the next snow coming.
I'm not crazy about all that. Like I left that behind. So yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It hasn't been, it's not horrible. We just are not equipped for it here. I think Amanda goes through that even in Tennessee. They don't have the equipment. They don't have salt or they don't have the
Right.
chemical to treat the road if we're going to get a lot of ice. Because I guess 10 years ago and 20 years ago, my area had a severe snow or ice storm. And they lost power for a week at the one 10 years ago. So, but again, we're ready for it. I would rather, if I'm going to lose power personally, I would rather do it when it's cold than when it's hot. just because it's a lot easier to get warm than it is to get cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm.
And now that we do have a generator, I feel a lot better about the birds, but you can, have some blankets on hand, have extra comforters, put them in a travel cage and just bundle it all up where,
Yeah.
of course you want a little hole so they have a little airflow, but there are a lot easier ways to stay warm than to get cool, for sure. So,
Bird love. Look what happened to us yesterday.
yeah,
She
that's
looking?
crazy.
I'm waiting to see if
She's
she
on
looks.
here.
Yeah, she's on here. But it's an outlet and it melted and it didn't even throw the breaker and the wire burnt halfway up the wall.
That's
And we got
crazy.
really lucky.
Yeah, hurricane
He's
season's
talking about
over.
the windowsill.
Yeah, the hurricane season's over now. I don't actually know because to me, I thought hurricane season was like in the spring and this one was in the
Yeah, that's
fall.
what she's
So,
looking at. This is a
yeah,
melted outlet. This is an outlet that almost caught on fire. It melted and melted the wire halfway up the wall. That happened last night. That happened yesterday.
yeah, that's crazy. That's scary.
Yeah, my husband thought I was nuts because we went to go to bed because the electricians couldn't come out till today. We didn't know what was wrong, but I just know old houses with electrical things, there's always a chance of an electrical fire in the wall. And
Hmm.
I was worried about going to bed, and he thought I was nuts. No, it's not that. Nothing burned up. And I'm like, things smolder in the wall, and you don't know it until it's way too late. Then everything, like the walls explode with flames
Yeah.
and everything. I was worried about going to bed. He thought I was nuts.
No, that stuff worries me too. Um, so we have a lot of uh, fire alarms. Remember to change your batteries twice a year.
Oh,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'm bad
and
about that. They're
we have
supposed to
one.
beep when they go low, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't trust
we
that.
just they during the time change. So if the time change ever goes away, I guess I'll just have to remember every 6 months to change them. But we have one. So there's our room, and then there's a wall. There's the playroom, and then there's the bird room. So we have one in between. That way, hopefully, if anything ever happened, we had time to get everybody out, and then on the, throughout the house, we have all of that. So,
Bird love
um,
the how our house is back from this. It's from back in the 1970s is how old it is.
yeah,
So
our,
and
our
I hate to say it, but we live in the South and there's a lot less codes, as far compared to up north. And so we see a lot of half-ass stuff when they're in our buildings and things that you just wouldn't see in some other states. So between that and just the old ways of doing things in the 70s, it's worrisome.
yeah, yeah,
They
um,
the electricians already said, like I said, what caused this. They said he said a lot of the builders would go cheap in the 70s and they would crimp the wires with a piece of metal. He said, so if the metal shifts, it'll burn up and everything. He says he's seen it a lot. And I was like, oh, that's great.
so we recently had added some lights to the ends of our house. Well, I say we, but it's Ken. Um, and Ken is very he he can do pretty much anything. Um, and they had done something, and it was basically like because our house was built in the 60s, it was basically some like backward shortcut where you use like the two of the same color of wire. And I don't understand all that stuff. But he finally, because it just was so mind blowing and it was so, perplexing to him that he finally just had a guy from work that's an electrician come out and fix it. because I mean that's just something you don't want to mess with is
Yeah.
electric. Um, so houses can burn down really fast. So
Yeah.
you gotta watch too. Excuse me, especially like in kit homes or double wides and
Uh-oh, Jen, are you there? She's frozen. Are you guys seeing Jen or hearing her? Can you guys see Jennifer or hear her? She's frozen on my screen. She's frozen. Oh, so it happened to her for a change. But usually, like when that happened to me, you could still hear me talking. Yeah, Amanda. Jennifer's time to freeze. Well, at least her shot's a lot better than mine when I froze. Yeah, I think I figured out the problem with me freezing was there was an update that was pushed out by Samsung and she's gone. I wonder if she can use the old link to come in. Anyway, what was I saying? It's gone. Questioning her choices in life. Oh, I know what it was. I was saying why it froze. Samsung or Android pushed out an update and I found out that's what messed everything up. And I know because I checked everything that it could be and tried to fix it, nothing would work. And then they pushed out another update and it fixed it. So the one update took it away, the one fixed it. So now it's not freezing or anything. But Karen, she's frozen, right? Well, now I can't see her at all. It's just me on here. Yeah, it's about an hour. So what I'll do is anybody have questions before I leave? Yeah, I don't know why you shouldn't fix what's not broke. I don't know why they keep sending out updates so constantly. Yeah, next week we'll be back at 7:30. It will be on Jennifer's channel, Buster the Cockatoo. She'll be announcing it when it gets close to time, and I'll be announcing it when it's close to time. Yeah, Karen, you missed it, man. You might want to go back and watch because Jennifer studied up on the bird flu and she gave us a whole education about it. It was really cool. All right, everybody, no questions? Okay, love you guys. And hopefully I'll see you next week, okay? Night.